Hello, ma'am.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
You look well rested and everything.
This is like my usual. We
Oh,
usually get up
good.
at 5:30 because
Good.
the
I
kids.
always feel bad. I'm like, if it's a Pacific, like West Coast person, I'm like, can you come on and like wake up super early?
No, it's fine. Gary's masterminds are also at like a ridiculously early time.
Yeah,
So it's all good.
do it. Cool. Well, thanks again for being on.
Thanks for asking. Nice to see you.
Everyone's going to be popping on in the next couple minutes, so
Totally fine.
chill out.
I'll just mute in the meantime.
Yeah, me too. And thanks, Joseph, for being early. Zoom needs to have a feature for like background music. Just like put background music on. Good morning, on time team. All right. Good morning, on time people. And Aubrey, thanks so much for being on today. We actually start off all our calls with a little bit of gratitude. So if anybody from the Texas team that's logged in wants to go ahead and raise their hand or unmute and say a little bit about what you're grateful for. Also turn on your cameras. That would be cool too. And we're going to get more people popping on here, but I'll start with my gratitude. So as y'all know, I'm on the Keller Williams Young Professionals, and yesterday was the start of our national summit, which is super exciting, and it's being hosted here in Fort Worth. I'm very ready for it to be over. I do not like being the host city. Being the host is way different than being the guest. But saw a bunch of my friends yesterday, gonna see more of them later today and throughout the weekend. And they just fill my cup. So I'm super, super grateful for that. And if any of you guys want to pop up, to Dallas, just drive on down. There's still a couple tickets left. Anyone else want to share their gratitude today? We're a slow moving bunch this morning. Jen Smith.
I'm grateful for the way that our team has shown up. Dana is on vacation down in Argentina, and just seeing the leadership that we have within our team. Chris Cauda is leading the charge with taking care of some of our newer agents in training and just developing them. Chelsea's participating. We're all leading a different power up. I mean, it's just really great and unifying, and I'm really proud of all of us.
That's awesome. Good job, DFW South. Does anyone else want to say anything else they're grateful for? Give me like one more. No one? Everyone's sad this morning. I'm not good at being patient like Adelina is. So I'm just going to keep talking until someone else tells me what they're grateful for today.
I'm grateful that you took
Hey,
these.
Elizabeth.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Michaela.
Okay, sorry, Brandon. I'm grateful you took these over for Adelina because I really enjoy Texas Power Up, and I'm really glad she had a baby and all. It's a little selfish of her, honestly. Thank you for keeping this going while she's momming.
Yeah, I like it too. So thanks for popping on still. Go, Brandon.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm grateful. We have a new partner, Adrian, joining our team here in San Antonio this morning. Today's his first day, so pumped for that.
Nice. Congrats. Welcome. And I think Jacqueline might have unmuted. Do you want to go, Jacqueline? Maybe. Okay. Well, then we'll just go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and pin Miss Aubrey and pin myself. Yay. So a lot of you probably don't know Aubrey because Aubrey is not part of the place world. But I wanted to bring in some new blood that we might have not heard from before. And Aubrey's awesome. So I met Aubrey because she's an ex-MBA with me. So we just finished that year-long coaching program, which I feel like went by so fast. And I learned so much and met lots of awesome people like Miss Aubrey here. And so Aubrey, why don't you just start like by introducing yourself a little bit, like where you are, where you're from, all that jazz.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Yes, good morning. I'm actually fortunate enough to be in Chris Suarez's market center, so I get a lot of his nuggets as well. He's my OP. So yes, my name is Aubrey Martin. My business is Martin Family Real Estate Group. I am originally from New York City, but live currently in the Portland, Oregon metro market, and have been licensed since July of 2017. And came out to Oregon with no sphere. We had lived here before, but all of the folks from college had long since moved along. So when we moved back to Oregon, we didn't really know anybody.
And then can you tell us a little bit about your business? So how did it start and where is it now?
Yeah, so I started at a different kind of regional brokerage. And in my first year, I did 13 transactions, but I really didn't know how I got there. And I couldn't really figure out how to grow that. It was really wonderful people in the office, but they weren't a real culture of kind of sharing. And I don't think I really had a business plan, although I did do something very early on, which I'll talk about later, which sort of catapulted my business kind of down the road. But about a year into real estate, I connected with a friend of mine up in the Portland metro market who was with Keller Williams. And they invited me as a guest to a little event we call Mega Camp. And I was like this the whole time I was at Mega Camp, kind of like a deer in headlights. And within 2 weeks of Mega Camp, I had moved over to Keller Williams because I realized that what I was really missing was the structure and the energy and the culture of giving back was really important to me. That's a big part of my business. And just, watching the people on stage and I think that culture of sharing was really important to me. So my first year at KW, so my second year in real estate, I did 45 transactions. And then from there, 65, and then from there, 74. Last year, I did 64. This year, I'm on track to do 60. I actually was just interviewed by the COO of KW, Mr. Patel, who's like the nicest guy in the whole world. And I told him in my interview, which was, I think, 6 months ago, that I'm not going to do more than 60 this year because it will kill me because I am exhausted. And I'm sticking to it for my family, for my mental health and sanity. But I'm an individual agent. So I don't have a team in the conventional sense, but as Gary says, I'm in Gary's mastermind, that teams are formed in many different ways. So my structure looks like an in-house transaction coordinator at my office. She also does my listing coordination. I have an admin that just helps me with events. So she probably works about 10 hours a week. And then I have a showing assistant from within the market center who's just an individual agent who is looking to grow her business and is not there quite yet. So she's actually been with me for almost 4 years. And we just do a split where she does a percentage of the commission, and she sits inspections and will meet repair folks, and we'll do walkthroughs, and she's my kind of boots on the ground because I do have 3 children. And it is really hard for me to be in many places at once with this kind of production. And that's really my team, in addition, of course, to lenders, escrows, and escrow folks, title folk. I have a general contractor that I partner with. That's been a huge thing. It's a big value add when I go on listing appointments, that whatever people need to have done, I've got someone who can just pop in and do major renovations or minor handy person stuff. I have window washers, I have cleaners, I have carpet cleaners. I literally have an arsenal of people. And the reason I bring that up is because one of the things that I did year one that I think kind of manifested all of this is I decided that in addition to open houses, which of course we all do year one, I think I did like 16 or 17 a month. It was like insane. But I started meeting specifically with women in the service industry. Just for tea, just to learn about their business, because I wanted to know who I should know for my clients. And so I put it out there, and I met, oh my gosh, I think it was probably like maybe between 80 and 90 people in the service industry, people I thought would be a good fit for people that were looking to buy or sell. Women specifically, because my mom, rest her soul, was an engineer in a time when there were very few women engineers. And it really affected me growing up. And I really wanted to meet women who were doing kind of a high standard of excellence. And so those conversations down in that first year led to this kind of massive team of people that I come with. And Elizabeth knows because we're friends on Facebook, but whenever I have a listing that has closed or a buyer that has closed, I tag and cross promote everybody that had anything to do with that transaction, so that it's constant promoting of their business. And in turn, of course, I get business from them as well. So that's really, that was a really big piece of year one of kind of just building that and just being really intentional about it. Once I found that I found something that kind of worked and that was a little different. And that actually became my welcome home directories. So all of those folks that I refer to all the time, we have a website, martinfamilyrealestategroup.com/directories. All of those folks are there. I share that with all of my clients as well as my community when anybody's looking for literally any service whatsoever. And then we have a binder that we give to everybody that closes that also has those people in that we refresh whenever we add or have to delete someone. So that's my team.
Yeah. I love that. But also, did everyone hear how many open houses Aubrey did that? Not first year, every month. Every month.
Fridays, I Friday twilights were something that, I don't know if y'all do that in Texas, but that wasn't really something that was done up here. And that's the thing about Oregon. Like, I've been to Texas many, 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 many times because of family reunion and mega camp and Gary's mastermind, et cetera, et cetera. You all have a pace down there that is somewhat similar to Oregon, which is kind of like chill, like laid back, very friendly. But I'm from New York City and I hustle. And I don't think people out here even knew what hit them when I came out. So I'm like, I want every open house, and I'm going to do open houses at a high, high level. I'm going to door knock. I'm going to promote. I'm going to do a Facebook ad. I'm going to do themed mega open houses. Like that was my strategy for my first year. 16, 17. And I did the Friday night twilights. I would host broker opens. I would do Thursdays, like whatever I could do to represent other brokers, because I didn't have the business yet. So yeah, everything at a high level, like focus on the things that you do well and just focus on that and do it high.
Yeah. And like you had 13 transactions, with a lot of people don't do in their first year. I know I didn't do, I think I did like 8 my first year. So like you do get that now business that might sustain you that first year, but then exponentially you did what, 2 to 3 times more business the next year from like those nurtures, from practicing your scripts there, from being able to just be in front of more people. So, for everyone that has open houses as part of their lead gen strategy, it might not pay off, that year, right? But it's paying off in other ways. So that's awesome. And I love what you said about I'm also a networker, and I love how you do networking differently than me though. You set up the appointments and the coffees or teas with different people you sought out. And that's more one-on-one networking. So if you're not like a super crazy extrovert, and like me going to, this KWYP summit and seeing 150 people and just being like, yay, I love being around 150 people. And you just want to be in front of one. That's a great way to do it. And how many people would you say you met with like a week, like your first year?
Probably, I would say at least 3 or 4. It was part of my lead generation time. And what I didn't realize at the time when I was doing that, because I was with a different brokerage, was that it's something that they actually teach you in Bold. It's that A to Z. It's the people in your community that can provide value to your clients. And when I took Bold, I was like, that's what I was doing in kind of a modified way. When you talk about networking, that is now, because I don't do open houses anymore, just because it's not the best usage of my time, and I kind of pivoted from that. But networking is a huge piece of my business. And again, lead generation. So I don't meet with people so much one-on-one anymore, because again, kind of the time piece of it. But I'm a president of my BNI. For those of you who don't know, Business Networking International, and it's category restricted. So there can only be one real estate agent, one lender, one financial planner, and one P&C, which is property and casualty insurance. And it's really hard to find a BNI that doesn't already have a real estate agent. You have to kind of like elbow your way into it. And I just wasn't having it. So I actually just made my own group via BNI, because I was in an area that didn't have one. So we've been doing that now for about 4 years. BNI is what they call giver's gain, which means that I don't show up necessarily to get business for myself, but to help promote other people and listen to what their needs are and what their business is. And again, it kind of goes alongside that kind of cross promotion thing. But BNI has been a big thing. And BNI membership is probably maybe $1,000 a year. But in our industry, all you need is like one client. It pays for your BNI membership for like 10 years or whatever it is. So depending on what your average sales price is. So totally worth it. I'm president this year, and it's been wonderful. I also joined something which is also in Texas called MOB, which is Mother Owned Businesses. And it's an online national group. And they are women who identify as mothers in service and professional services. And they have meetups via Zoom as well as in person. And I commit to that every week, because again, it's part of my lead generation time. And a lot of these people are in my directories. So it's just kind of more fostering those relationships. But referral, or rather networking, is my number one source still of business. So BNI, MOB, and then the other piece of it, and you didn't ask about this piece, but is I am very heavy on social media. So Facebook, which my children tells me is for old people, but whatever, I don't understand TikTok, so I'm not going to do it. I focus on Facebook, and I'm very, I'm very active in these community groups. So I live in an area called Beaverton. So like Beaverton Area Moms Group, or, like my kids play soccer. So I'm like one of the soccer groups, because I have officially become a soccer mom, apparently. But any of those things that we have interest in, and Jason Abrams actually talks about this, is just focus on the things that you're interested in, that you like. And those are the things that I just kind of key into. Because I don't go into these groups and I'm not like, hey, I'm Aubrey. Do you want to buy or sell or invest? Because it's like gross, like this is really about really connecting with people who have similar interests, and maybe at a similar time in their lives to where you are. And I'm very quick to give recommendations in those groups. If people are looking for like literally anybody, this is how you phrase it. And if you hear nothing else from this conversation right now with Elizabeth, this is what you want to write down. Someone says, hey, I'm looking for someone to wash my windows. And you say, I use and refer all my real estate clients to Reflections, window cleaning, and gutters. That's it. So what does that do?
You just told everyone what you did.
You told, what is it? What is that? Can someone, I know this is not supposed to be like, it's just me talking, but maybe someone can tell me why that's different than a regular response.
Well,
Kevin, yeah, go ahead.
you provided value. You let them know what you do, as well as promoting somebody else while not at all promoting yourself.
Exactly right. And I'm not promoting myself, but I'm making sure that they remember that I'm in real estate. And the funny thing is that when people are asking for a real estate agent, I just sit back. I don't even comment on that. Some people just comment for me. And when I do get people that are interested, they're like, I see your name all the time. And the funny thing is that I do think that some of that is because people are recommending me, but some of it is because I'm just saying that very simple phrase. I refer all my real estate clients to blank. And they don't even remember. It's like commercials on TV, like back in the day. People don't even remember where they saw that ad. They have no idea, right? They're like, it could have been on TV, it could have been on the radio. And that's just like what I am, is that if you're constantly putting it out there that you're in real estate without being obnoxious. But I will tell you, when I go to my daughter, she's 9, when I go to her friends' birthday parties and I'm sitting around talking with the moms, I always know what the data is for the neighborhood that I'm in. What is their list to sales price ratio? How many houses have sold? What are the average days on market? I know it all. I'm a data geek. That's my background. So just because I'm not leading with that doesn't mean I don't know it.
You should have for the birthday party.
Yes, I do. All of them.
Love that.
Yes, I do. Because you just don't know. And the fact is, everybody's interested in real estate, especially in a weird, shifty market. That's why HGTV is so popular, right? You know, the people that have basket weaving as their job and want a house for $2 million. But I mean, everybody's interested in real estate. So you should know before you go in. It doesn't mean I'm talking about it, but they're like, hey, Aubrey, like, how's it going? Like, yeah, busy, just I have right now, I have 13 under contract right now. I mean, like literally I do. And if you know those neighborhoods, it helps to have that conversation without feeling icky. The reason I'm so active in the social media groups, and I think that this is important too, is that my other leg of lead generation, and this is the third one really, after kind of networking, and then I'll go back to the second one. But the reason I'm so active on social media is because I have so many people, and I'm sure you do too, at open houses or just in the community that think that they're ready, but they're just not ready yet. And I just don't have time to meet with people for an hour and a half for people that are like 3 years out. And I want to help them, like my background is in teaching. So it's really important for me to want to educate and help people. So I created a vehicle to kind of funnel all of those people into my home buyer and home selling classes. And so those are people that go right into command. As soon as they say that they're interested in maybe buying in the future, whatever it is, I'm like, great. Every month we have a class coming up on Zoom. It used to be in person before the pandemic. Now it's on Zoom. And we're going to go over the home buying process, the list to sales price ratios with the micro markets and the data. We're going to go over lending, down payment assistance programs, homeowners insurance. It's a 2-hour class. And at the end of that class, they get a home warranty from me if they use my team. And then they get a credit from the lender from taking the class as well if they use our team. But the idea is that some of those people taking the class are ready next week, and some of them are ready 2-3 years down the road. But once you have them in the system, they're yours. They're going to get invited to all my client events, which I'll talk about later. They're going to get invited to everything. They're going to be they're going to get my newsletter. They're going to be part of everything. And even if they don't show up, they've registered, right? Like on the site, and they're all going into command. So I label them as DNA, did not attend. And so that's a different smart plan within command, but still everybody's part of my database. And eventually, if you follow up and communicate in a non-gross way, people come. I always tell people that I love real estate, and I do. I love everything about it, but I hate sales. Hate it with like the heat of 1,000 suns. It's not my thing. And I'm here really to educate people and to help them achieve what they need to achieve. We provide incredibly high level service with communication so that people feel really comfortable and confident, but I'm not a salesperson. Despite what Bold tells me, I'm not.
Yeah. And what I love about Aubrey too is like we have very similar lead gen levers, but we do business very differently. So I just love seeing how different even one lead gen lever can be. And so even like when you're like in Facebook groups and recommending people, sorry, Wyatt's saying hello, in recommending people, then like do you keep track of how many times you refer someone?
So
Or-
I asked them to keep track of it.
Okay.
In other words, so what I do too is, so let's just use that example of the window cleaner. I use for my personal home and refer all my real estate clients to Reflections, window, and gutter cleaning. Would you like me to connect you?
Mhm.
Happy to introduce you. And then put them in a three-way text with Francesca Conklin, the owner, and
Mhm.
myself, and then that person. Right.
But
So they're tracking that. And I'm asking the professionals, the moving companies and everything else, hey, please let me know when one of I'm sending X over to you. I do a screenshot. I'm sending this person over to you. Let me know if they end up booking. Yeah.
do you keep track of how many referrals you get from that source as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And my biggest sources are definitely the people that are in people's houses. So
Mhm.
general contractors, cleaners, these are like definitely the people, because they know everything. They know everything. If people are, are prepping to put their house on the market, cleaners who are in apartments or, yeah, I mean, they know everything for sure. But yes, I mean, and at the end of the day, I'm referring out more than I'm getting in, but that's fine, because my job is to help build their business so that they can grow. And honestly, like if they give me one referral a year, I mean, you all know what that commission looks like. So we're good. I
Yeah,
also hold, and this is, I think, kind of go into the second part of my lead generation is I do events. That's my big thing. So networking, the classes that I hold, the buyers classes, the sellers classes, and then events. And so the first event that I do, which kind of goes into this thing about the networking piece in my professional partners, is I do a partners gratitude dinner every year. And it's so stinking fun because we have usually 70 or 80 people for dinner. And it's really an opportunity for me to thank my service providers and my partners for their like excellent year of service. Because honestly, because I do so many transactions with these people, they really do kind of drop things to help me. And you got to find those people because they're not everywhere. But the other part of that dinner is that these people get to meet each other, which I love. Like I had my transaction coordinator meet with my florist. I have a florist who is on retainer. She does deliveries for me every time I have a listing. I send the seller a bouquet of flowers. And anyway, so I introduced them together, and she was getting married, and there's my florist right there. And she just did florals for her wedding. Like I have the window washer speaking with the general contractor, speaking with the person who focuses on radon. I mean, it's really awesome to see all of the connections that happen after these dinners. Because then they all work together too. And that's kind of the goal, is to kind of create this really wonderful network. So the partner dinner is number one. I always get business after the partner dinner, by the way, always.
I bet.
Because I mean, and it's just fun. We're not talking about business there. We're really just, kind of, it really is a gratitude dinner. And the other events that I do community events, which are things that are open to the public. And then of course I do client events as well. So community events, for example, I have 2 events coming up in June. One is a community yard sale where I live in an HOA. You can see right there that all of our houses look exactly the same. I live in Stepford Wives community in Oregon, and we have tons of people doing garage sales. And so what we decided to do was, let's find out who wants to do a garage sale on this particular date. And I have a map of the community, and they're all listed about who's participating. We have a booth, like a table that I have sponsors for, that is at one of the parks where people will check in when they're coming to the event. And we have a sponsor with food. We have a sponsor with coffee. They're going to get a map, and they're going to get a bag with my branding on there that they can then bring to the garage sales. So that's one of the things that we've got going on. And then a few days later, every year since the pandemic, we've been doing a last day of school ice cream event where we bring in a local ice cream, artisanal ice cream place. We're very artisanal in the Northwest. And they come in, they scoop. And again, I've got 4 sponsors for that. So they just split the cost of the ice cream, and it's also supporting a local business. And last year we had 350 families come. It was wild. It was absolutely wild. But what's cool is as they're waiting on a ridiculously long line, because people will wait in line for an hour for a $5 scoop of ice cream that they can literally get half a mile away, because that's where the ice cream place is, but they want to do this. We have games and like carnival games, and we've got music, and we've got all of the vendors that are there who are sponsoring. They've got like little knickknacks for the kids because they're there with their families. They're there with their parents, and I get to talk to them as they're waiting online. So community events like that, we do a Halloween event. Yeah, so that's the community event side of things. Client events, super important. One of my major legs of lead generation is that kind of constant contact with present and past clients. So we do a movie night around Christmas time where we just invite 75 of our families to come and do a movie. Last year we watched Elf. That was really fun. And we do I don't know if you have it down there, but we have an event called Street of Dreams, which is where all of these architects create these beautiful kind of top of the line homes, and they allow the public to tour them. It's every summer. And so what I do is, again, this is just past and present clients, is I buy tickets in bulk. We do little lunches for them. This year, I'm partnering with a past client of mine who's a caterer. So we're going to have these little lunch boxy things. And then again, I've got my lender and my assistant there with me. We hand out the lunch boxes, and we all go together to look through these houses. And I'm wearing my Martin Family Real Estate shirt and all of that stuff. Again, not for sales at all, but just again, as a reminder that I am their person for all of the fun things as well. So client events, community events, and partner events. That's how you sort of solidify your relationships going forward. One thing I did forget to mention, which I really should have mentioned, is part of my team too is I'm sure many of you have kiddos. During the pandemic, my kids were, 6, 9, and 12, and we shut down here completely. Didn't know really what to do with my children and still run a high level business because we were definitely in person. We were definitely showing homes and all of that. So rather than decide if I was going to be home with them or if I was going to do real estate, I brought them in with me. And so we became Martin Family Real Estate Group because my children are part of my business. They're on payroll because my accountant told me I should.
Mm-hmm.
And they help with events.
I know all about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they help with events. They help with photography. They help with all sorts of stuff. But really, it just kind of gives them a sense of, I think, pride in why I'm busy so much and kind of understanding what I'm doing. And also, it allowed me to spend time with them so that if I go show a house, which I don't really do too much anymore, but if I'm going to a listing appointment, they come with me, not into the home, but they will, then we'll go on a hike afterwards or we'll do something together. And that's how I was able to manage being with my kiddos during the pandemic and still kind of working at a high level. But they have little t-shirts that they wear as well. They're little polos for all of my events they help with. My husband was in the web development sector, then the tech sector. And during the pandemic, he lost his job, like a lot of people did. And rather than going back to tech and trying to start over or whatever it is, he's also a professional photographer, so I nabbed him as my director of operations, and so he does a lot of my newsletters and stuff in Command and the directories and the marketing stuff for Facebook, and then he's my photographer, Matterport, floor plans, and all of that. So we've been married 22 years, and it's been a great asset to have him and the children in with the business because it's truly a family business now. I'm the only licensed person, but again, I don't really need other licensed people. I just need a lot of leverage.
Yeah. And that's what I love about Aubrey is like, I watch her on, on social media, but like, I don't see your face a lot. Like you don't post like videos necessarily or selfies or anything. Right.
Don't care.
Definitely created a life by design because you have your family. And like for Mega Camp, y'all, she drove there with her family.
We totally drove to Austin. Oh my gosh. From Oregon. You guys, that's like yeah, we did, the whole family and the dog. Yeah, we
Yeah.
do that all the time. I want them to experience, I want, like if you're going to do this, let's do a road trip. I
Yeah.
mean, oh my gosh, we did Mega Camp once in Las Vegas because it was the Northwest region's version of Mega Camp because it was during the pandemic. We needed to do something smaller. And I had this great idea of bringing the family and the dog in a rented RV. Let me tell you how much I don't recommend driving from Oregon to Las Vegas in a rented RV in the middle of the summer, going through Death Valley with an RV that has no air conditioning. Not recommended. 0 out of 10 stars.
I just love though that you like made it work, right? Like
everything is a family. Everything
that's
is a
one of your
family.
values and your priorities. And what I also love that I think you just started doing this maybe last year, is limiting the amount of people you work with, but you advertise that. You're like, I think you just posted this week, you're like, hey, we're helping 60 families this year. I already have, 30 something committed, or either closed, pended, or, their slots already secure for the year. I have this many slots left of people I can help. If you want one of those slots, let me know. Like, how amazing would it be to have a business where you're like, I want to make 100 transactions, or whatever your goal is. She puts it out there and was like, this, and it creates urgency and creates like a kind of like limited edition, fervor to be like, oh, if I want to buy a house this year and I want to use Aubrey, I need to tell her right now because her slots are filling up.
I have friends that I literally text me almost every day. Are you taking on any more clients? Because everybody has seen this. When I was having that interview with Mr. Patel, he said, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody ever doing that where they're like, you're limiting. And honestly, because when I did, you got to figure, can you have more leverage? Yes, for sure. But, for an individual agent, how much is enough? And what I realized is like 60 is really good. And even with that,
a beach house and she's buying a second beach house, like she has a great life and again, like you're not being limited by limiting, like
you just need more, and if you want to do more, just get more leverage, right? The other piece of it, this is really important for those of you who may be newer to the business, or maybe not, just haven't done it yet, but I run my business at an 82% profit because I don't, other than my assistant, who really only works about 10 hours a week, nobody else is on payroll. No one. Everything is per transaction. So if I want to go up to the beach with my kids for a few weeks, and then I don't have to worry about like, how am I going to pay this person's salary? What if I don't have anybody else that I'm worrying about, because the person who helps showing, my transaction coordinator, my listing coordinator, nobody's on salary. Everything is per transaction. So I keep things incredibly lean. I use command. Like I'm not a big spender in that way. And the truth is that like when you're working with the legs of lead generation that Elizabeth and I do, it's very sort of organic. I don't pay for leads. I mean, and I have nothing against it. It's just not part of my strategy. And so I'm not spending a ton of money because I use what's already in front of me. And for most of us, the best sales tool really is us. It's connecting with people. And you don't have to spend a lot of money to do that. You just have to do it in smart ways so that you don't run yourself ragged.
And how I compare it to, like, obviously I'm on a team, right? And I've been on a big team for 7 years now, running a similar like networking kind of business. And like what's different and like what's nice about the team is that I don't want to be the one that's coordinating stuff like you do. Like I'm like, which is great that you do that. But there's like, the leverage that comes on the team, you have to use it. Like we're paying for it, but like you got to use it. So for people that like complain about, oh, the team doesn't do this or whatever, like just make sure that you're using it, using all the stuff that you get. Otherwise, like you can definitely run a great business like you do, but you're doing a lot of the legwork, so to speak, right? Like you're having to coordinate all those people, like you're the octopus. Well, I like to just be like, here, Sarissa, here, Michaela, here, Michael, please do all these things. And those are my values. So that's why it's like, there's lots of different ways to run successful businesses, using, networking, open houses, like just different ways. So
you do not have to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly.
Gary says this all the time. You really don't. It's not like I'm doing something that is like, oh my gosh, it's so revolutionary. I think the structure of my business is a little different than the traditional KW thing.
Yeah.
But you know, like it works. It works for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but it definitely works for me. I think teams work for a lot of people. Individual agents work for a lot of people. I'm a hybrid of I have a team, but I don't want to manage people. I don't like, I have no interest in that whatsoever. And I just want I just want to grow other people's businesses. And it's a great way. I think this structure is a great way to do that.
I have a lot more questions for Aubrey, but I know that we're limited on time. If anyone has a question for Aubrey, like please unmute or raise your hand. Go ahead, Fatima.
Okay. You are Aubrey.
Whoops. You just muted yourself.
Aubrey, you sound like a beast, and so I'm really like enjoying hearing everything that you like, all the pieces that you have and that you're implementing. I have a question about like social media. So do you post on like just your normal Facebook page, like as your profile? Do you have your own, like a separate page or like a VIP like type of thing for just your past clients and partners, or like are you on Instagram? Like what does the structure of all of that look like?
That's such a great question asked by someone younger than me, because it's something I would have never thought to ask, but it's really smart. So a lot of my stuff is highly personal. So it's on my personal Facebook page. And I know that that's not something that's done by everybody, but the truth is, I don't think there's as much interaction on the business pages as you will find on your personal pages where people really get to know you. I do have a Facebook page, Martin Family Real Estate Group. I do post on there, but you can tell the interaction is really quite different, and it's much less. But that's where I promote, all of the classes that we have coming up and the listings and et cetera, et cetera. I do have an Instagram page. Another thing I really don't understand too much about. I like Instagram because there's not too much drama on there because it's just photos. But with Facebook, it populates whatever my post is, populates directly into Instagram. The other thing that I created is a Facebook group called Welcome Home PDX, which is PDX is Portland. And this is specifically for community members and my clients. And it's an extension of that Welcome Home book and the directories that I have. So this is a place where we talk about different events that are going on, but also promote the different people that we have in the directory as well. So, and that anybody can join, but those are the modules that I use.
And so that welcome home page is more of like a closed off, like they would have to request to join that, correct?
They would have, yeah, because otherwise you're gonna get like a million spammers. So yeah, that's where we do like, events, and we promote the businesses that are in the directories. Yeah, that's more of a kind of a community group.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Kevin. He just shared your website. Or his website, maybe ATX. Sweet. Anyone else have any questions for Aubrey? Because I have another one. Oh,
I do.
Go for it, Jacqueline.
Oh, go ahead.
No. I can talk to Aubrey whenever. So
yes, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for sharing. But my question is a children question. So I'm curious to see how you handled the day-to-day with your children at home, especially during COVID. I have 4 daughters. I also homeschool, and I was a former teacher. And so, and now I just started, I've been in real estate for only a few months now. So how did you handle the day-to-day with bringing your children into the business? So what I'd like to hear more about.
I was very good with my time blocking, and I used a lot of leverage when I needed to. So for example, if there was a client that wanted to see a house at 10 a.m. and that was during the time of their schooling, then I had I partnered with another agent to do the showings. When I with my showing person that helps me, the buyer's consult is done. Everything is all done together. We're in a group text together. So I'm their agent. But partnering with another agent in that case can be really, really helpful. I'm not crazy about paying agents per door. And that's why I've sort of just done 1 or 2 people that have been with me for a long time, and they get a percentage, because I feel like there's more commitment from them to get a client under contract rather than just per door. So I think partnering with another agent during the times that you have to be home with your daughters is and really leveraging that piece out is really important. And then during the other times, honestly, I just take them with me. I do. Like, I just take them with me. Now, they don't necessarily, they're not, as I said, they're not necessarily coming into appointments with me, but sometimes sometimes they were, like when I was doing showings during COVID, which I'm not really doing showings anymore, but when I was, most of my clients have families. So, what was really awesome is when I was showing homes, and if the families came with kids, what's really great? Having built-in play date, like literally right there. So be like, hey, you want to go check out the backyard? Bye-bye, like with the kids. So, you absolutely can integrate them when you need to. And then when you can't, then you just have to leverage out.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's amazing though. Homeschool 4 daughters, props to you. That's amazing. It is. Totally.
Daniel?
Yeah. So with social media being like one of your number one thing, what's your time block with your social media? Like, what does that look like? How much time you're actually putting towards that lead gen lever?
So I do 2 hours of lead generation every day. Actually 6 days a week instead of 7. Instead of 5, I should say. And so I would say at least an hour of that is on social media, kind of promoting the classes or like responding, just going through all of the groups and seeing who needs what and who's looking for recommendations on whatever. Social media is such a rabbit hole, isn't it? Like you can get stuck on there and be like, ooh, but like the Yankees are playing today. Yeah, don't. Right. So if for me, it's of the 2 hours, it's an hour. And then the rest of it is my other kind of legs of lead generation, promoting what I'm promoting, getting in touch with my clients or whatever it is. But an hour is what I devote to social media. And honestly, if I didn't have to use Facebook for business, I wouldn't be on it at all, ever. Yeah. I don't care what other people's politics are, what they think. I don't want to know. Just leave me out of it.
I don't see Aubrey's face very often, just like
Never.
on calls, that whenever I'm on the same call with her, because she's not like, so whenever we say like, oh, video is the number one thing, you have to do this, you have to do that. I'm like, you don't have to. If you do the things that you're comfortable with and that you're good at consistently, you can just do that.
Right, at a high level. And I think the promotion piece of things, I really try to, when I have a closing, and I understand real estate agents want to kind of show what they're doing, but you can show what you're doing on Facebook without showing yourself, without promoting yourself. My Facebook posts about closings are about my clients, and it's about the people that helps those clients. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't even show them most of the time. I'm mostly showing the house. Yeah.
But also, like, you sometimes post their stories and stuff, because I read all of it. I was like,
yeah,
oh,
it's about them. It's about them and the people that help
clients.
them. Yeah, it's not, I had one for those of you, if we're not friends on Facebook, feel free to send me a friend request, but you can see, I just posted one last night. It's not about me. I mean, just because for me, it feels like there's so many real estate agents, you guys, there's so many of us. I don't really feel the need to make it about myself. I want my clients to also feel like it's about them throughout the whole process and also at the end. Because again, like I'm just not a salesy person, so it just feels a little ick to me. But everybody does things their own way and has their own comfort level.
And that is lead gen, writing out that, story about the clients and what they went through. Like that's touching more people and getting to more people than just posting like the just sold, picture.
The engagement is huge on those from their friends too, because remember you're tagging the people that did the closing with permission, and then you're tagging your escrow officer, your lender, all the people that do my gifts. I have a gift giver, and we do all local products, so I'm tagging all of those companies. If I give them a home warranty because they took my class, we're tagging that. We're tagging literally everybody, and so it really those posts really do become about their story and not mine. It's not really my story, right? Like we're just the vehicles. Yeah. We're the experts, but it's not my story.
Love that. Does anyone else have any questions for Miss Aubrey? I want to be cognizant of her time. It is a little earlier for her in Portland.
7:16.
Yeah. Cool.
And already like 65 degrees.
Yeah. Well, everyone go friend Aubrey. She's awesome. Thank you so much for taking time this morning. Hope everyone got to meet super awesome new person. And yeah, I'll see everyone in Texas next week. Thanks,
Have a
Aubrey.
good
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
everybody.
much,
Thank
Aubrey.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.